Yeah, my experience from doing your meditations, I mean, I've done them almost every morning for the last 40 days. And I've noticed a giant state change in how I'm starting my day. And also the awareness of when martyrdom or victimhood or like that kind of stuff is coming up. And I don't like the feelings that come with it now that I've had this taste, I guess, of now I'm living in this more state of bliss. And I'm curious what your work and your research has shown and your experience. I'm 44, and I didn't know that there was this like the pandemic kind of magnified a seed of victimization or martyrdom within me that I didn't realize was still there. Like I have these tools, but being as inspired and also as intentional as I've been through your work and through reading your book, I am noticing a massive change. So I'm curious what I'm experiencing this physiologically and mentally, but what's actually going on in that change or transformation?
There are many, many people in our community that during the pandemic didn't see the circumstances from a state of being a victim. They started new careers.
Yeah.
They learned a ton of new things. They practiced a bunch of new things. They got better at something. For them, it was really instrumental. And that's the person who sees possibility when nobody else actually sees it. If you're really interested in making certain changes in yourself and in your life, when you practice then thinking different ways, and if you say, what do I want to believe in? Well, the process of just closing your eyes and with intention and attention, remind yourself that you want to think this way. You keep doing that, you'll start thinking that way. If you start rehearsing in your mind how you're going to be with your coworker, how you're going to be with your different circumstances or people in your life, and you rehearse the act of how you could evolve your experience, the act of rehearsing is changing your brain. It's installing circuitry to look like you've already experienced it. When you say, God, I'm so tired of feeling frustrated, I'm so tired of feeling unhappy, I'm so tired of feeling unworthy, how do I want to feel? And you start creating those feelings independent of any reliance on your external world. No one's making you feel that way. You're actually making yourself feel that way. You start doing that enough times and you're going to start feeling that way. You're going to start becoming that person. So when that occurs, if a person immerses themselves in the process for 7 days, our data shows that in 7 days, if you think differently, if you make different choices, you do different things, you create different experiences, and you feel new emotions, you are going to be a different person. Your biology is going to suggest, before your life even changes, your biology is going to suggest in 7 days that your body is literally believing it's living in a whole new reality. Keep that out for an extended period of time. That starts feeling a lot better than feeling some of the emotions that people typically feel. And you notice the distinction between when you're there and when you're not.
So true.
The studious person goes, this is so familiar. This is so me, old me. I don't want to be that. I'm going to get back to feeling this feeling. I'm actually making myself happy. Then something weird happens because you're no longer waiting for your life to change to feel happy. You're actually creating happiness independent of what's going on in your life. Watch out what happens in your world, because your world begins to change in these wonderful and mysterious and synchronistic ways, because that's the effect of your change in energy. And nobody changes in their life until they change, right? So nothing can possibly change in their life until they change. And so we teach people the model of change so that exact thing happens just like for you. You start noticing you're not feeling that way any longer, and you don't like it, and you want to go back to feeling that way. When people feel whole and happy for no reason, they want less, and they rely on less on other people to make them feel happy. They can actually feel happy on their own, and nobody's making them feel happy when they do this. They're actually making themselves happy. There's a freedom that takes place with that. Staying there then is the mastery. So you could have a great meditation. You can fire and wire those circuits in your brain till they become a new belief. You can rehearse how you're going to be in your life. You're going to feel those feelings and those emotions. But when you get done with your meditation, you go back to the old personality. You default. The question is, how many times do you have to forget until you stop forgetting and start remembering? That's the real moment of change. 95% of those hardwired thoughts or beliefs or perceptions, those unconscious habits or behaviors, or those automatic emotional responses, that 95% is the identity that we have to overcome in order to become that new person. And you got to start really getting conscious of those unconscious thoughts, so conscious of them that you don't go unconscious. Become so aware of how you speak, so conscious of how you're acting that you catch yourself in the act of default, and you begin to change that, and you got to look, oh God, what do I feel every day? What is it? If I look at how I feel every day, do I really want to feel this way? And the more conscious you become of those feelings, the less unconscious you'll go in your waking day. And that's the unlearning process. And that's where people usually give up, because they think they're doing their meditations wrong, and they're actually doing it right. They're coming up against the automatic self, that really, the programmed self, the unconscious self, that they literally have to change. And so if they stick around long enough to decide that they no longer want to think that way or act that way or feel that way, the discomfort that's created from that process is a biological change that takes place in the body. The body's starving from its normal chemistry. It's not firing and wiring the same circuits. You're not signaling the same genes. The body's leaving known and familiar territory. And this is where most people say, I can't meditate. It doesn't feel right. And we know that if you actually sit in that and you ask yourself, is there something on the other side of that? That's when the brain changes the most. That's when the body changes the most. And we now know that when you do this enough times, in 7 days, there's so many biological changes that take place in the person that begin to cause a lot of growth and repair in their physical bodies.